Welcome to the 2018 FIL World Lacrosse Championships. We come to you from Israel in the Mediterranean coastal city of Netanya. Alongside Quint Kesnick, I'm Anish Schreiber, Paul Carcaterra, and Marav Severe will join us in just a little bit. For the United States, Quint, this was a silver medalist in 2010. A disappointing finish. They're going to try to get back to that gold level status, and they'll be led by one of the top attackmen in the world in former Tewaaraton Award winner Rob Pennell. This is a hungry and talented team. Pennell should be basically the ringleader of an offense that'll sling the ball around. 2013 graduate of Cornell, took home the Tewaaraton Trophy, currently playing for the New York Lizards in Major League Lacrosse. The Iroquois Nationals, led by the great Lyle Thompson. Paul, this was a team that won the bronze in 2014, and Lyle, simply put, one of the best to ever pick up a lacrosse stick.
The most creative lacrosse player in the world is Lyle Thompson. He's on my Mount Rushmore. One of the top 4 players ever to pick up a lacrosse stick. Versatility reigns supreme with 4 in purple. They will run him through the midfield. They will have him play attack. But make no mistake about it, this offense runs through number 4. And his creativity is insane, and his passing skills, the ability to make others around him better, is what makes this kid special.
John Galloway in goal for Team USA. Just finished up his second season as the head coach at Jacksonville. And for the Iroquois Nationals, something to watch, Quint. How fresh will they be? This is a team that had travel issues, passport issues, getting to Israel. They didn't get in until this afternoon. Got a nap in, had some food, now got to play lacrosse. If anybody is tough enough, strong enough, and focused enough to overcome what was a rough 2.5 days, it's this Nationals team. You just saw Jeremy Thompson and Trevor Baptiste for the Iroquois and the U.S. respectively at the face-off X, and the U.S. will have it first. They have some different rules here in the international game compared to the MLL and college lacrosse. There is no shot clock. On a stall warning, you just have to keep it inside the box. There is no clearing clock. Here is Paul Rabel. And that one is wide and clamped down by Warren Hill, the goalie for the Iroquois. We had lunch with Scott Marr and Lars Tiffany and Mark Burnham, the staff for the Iroquois Nationals, and they felt playing today would probably be better for them than getting a night of sleep and playing tomorrow. They will be exhausted and discombobulated with the 7-hour time difference tomorrow when they wake up. The good news is tomorrow's an off day for the Iroquois. This is Randy Stotts, played at Onondaga Community College and Syracuse, 2-time Junior College Player of the Year, and now the great Lyle Thompson. Thompson, one of 2 players to win 2 Tewaaraton Awards. That's the Heisman of lacrosse. This is his brother Miles. 5 Thompsons on this roster. 4 brothers and cousin Ty. And the Iroquois with the first goal of the game. It is Austin Stotts, the younger brother of Randy Stotts. Six Nations, little face dodge and then twister release, ties up the goalie John Galloway. Here it is again as he gets to the inside, beat your man, and then release. Austin Stotts out of Onondaga Community College, 11 straight junior college titles for the Lasers.
He is unbelievable. He was the best player in junior college the last 2 years. If he finds his way onto a Division I field, stamp it. He's an all-American type player.
Face-off violation. It is on the Iroquois Nationals, so the U.S. with its second offensive possession. And it's Tom Schreiber, 13 in white, was a star at Princeton, 200 points from the midfield. Interesting talking to John Danowski, Team USA coach, yesterday, pointing to Schreiber's knee injury. He hasn't been the same player this summer. They think he's near 100%. But Coach Danowski mentioning how many guys were dinged up and banged up. I know you turn to the Iroquois Nationals, and Lyle Thompson has not been playing outdoor this summer with a shoulder injury. Schreiber to Matt Danowski, the son of U.S. head coach John Danowski. Now Paul Rabel. The face of lacrosse, 99 in white. All-time leading scorer in the history of Major League Lacrosse. Schreiber, Ryan Brown. That one ricochets off the pipe. Stopped by Warren Hill on the rebound. And big Warren Hill with a strong outlet downfield. Let's see if the Iroquois will push. That was a shot from the long pole. Tyson Bomberry, a rising senior at Syracuse. And now John Galloway, one of the best outlet passing goalies. We see it there. Over to Rob Pinnell.
This field may look a little different for our viewers at home. It's wider, 64 yards wide, so clearing should be a lot easier.
And there's no clearing clock.
It's a giant pitch.
Rob Pinnell on a hop from Jordan Wolf. Now for this U.S. team on paper, it's by far the strongest roster. But chemistry is going to be their challenge, Quint.
Well, so many stars. There's only one ball. Coming off a loss in the 2014 championship game to Canada. Canada's won 2 of the last 3 World Championships, and then losing to the MLL All-Stars a few weeks ago in Boston, 15-14. So a disappointing start to the summer for the Stars and Stripes.
Ron John, who plays for Albany, he'll be a junior in the fall, able to clear. And now Austin Stotts probes for the Iroquois Nationals. Generally, these international games have a slower pace. Might not be the case here. Another scoring chance. That time Lyle Thompson right on the doorstep, and there for the backup, Randy Stotts.
Iroquois catching United States on a sloppy substitution with a numbers game, a quick little 5-on-4.
Lyle's got a shorty. This is the matchup they want. You'll see 4 in purple will orchestrate.
He'll attack Will Hawes. Lyle Thompson! And the Iroquois Nationals with a 2-0 lead early on Team USA. Clark called it.
It's not hard to call when Lyle Thompson has a short stick. Salivating. That is the beauty of running him through the box as a midfielder. His traditional spot is attack, but when you run him through the box, he gets the mismatch. And he will attack a shorty all day and is unguardable from that standpoint.
See him use his elbow to push the defender away just a tad, enough to free up his stick and shoot the ball. Scott Marr, offensive coordinator, will use Lyle as a midfielder coming out of the box. They'll try to create some matchups. U.S. defense, rise and shine. When 4 in purple has it, you've got to respect him with a double team.
Jeremy Thompson winning the faceoff clean from Greg Gorenlian. Gorenlian and Baptiste, the 2 face-off men for Team USA. It is master and apprentice. Here is Lyle Thompson.
Play the chess match here. When you have Lyle Thompson playing midfield, Dahoga, Nanakoke playing midfield, traditional attack guys, there's green lights for this purple offense.
Here comes Stotts. That shot wide, and we have our first penalty. Tucker Durkin running to the penalty box. The penalty will start the moment Durkin sits down on one of the chairs in the penalty box, and all penalties in this international format are non-releasable, Quint. Shot and a score. Dahoga Nanakoke, the America East Rookie of the Year, coming off a 50-goal campaign as a freshman for Scott Marr's Albany Great Danes.
The big man's got to wear the special helmet. We're used to seeing him in and around the slot area, but this time he's top center. The skip pass forces the defense to approach him, and again, they just give him too much real estate. Galloway not picking up this orange ball at night. Great start for the Iroquois.
Range out of Nanakoke. Pick your poison if you're the U.S. defense. His adjacent players, Lyle Thompson, Randy Stotts. This offense is loaded. The question for the Iroquois, defensively, can they hold against the U.S. runs?
I think the bigger question, Paul, is face-offs tonight. I think the U.S., they've done well in that department, Iroquois have, but that could be the long-term storyline tonight. Gorenlian, and Trevor Baptiste for Team USA should have an advantage in that department.
Baptiste is 2 for 2. Gorenlian 0 for 2. Nanticoke scored the last goal for Albany. I saw him at our hotel before the Iroquois left, I should say, not the goal for Albany, for the Iroquois. And I said, did you get any sleep? And he goes, yeah, I just woke up. And this was a little before 6 p.m.
College kid, man, they're used to that, right? De Hoga entering his sophomore campaign for Scott Marr in Albany.
Wake up and play. That was deflected out by Team USA. It'll stay with the Iroquois. Lyle Thompson feeding inside behind the back shot, just off the mark by Chase Scanlon, who will be a freshman at Loyola this fall.
Under Armour All-American Scanlon after playing at IMG. I was impressed with what I saw from him during that Under Armour practices and the game. He's a talented midfielder. This experience, though, let me tell you, this goes 100 miles in his development. When he steps on campus at Loyola for Charlie Toomey in September, think about how spending 2 weeks with these great players, playing against this level of competition, it will springboard him forward like you dream about. I put him in the starting lineup next year.
And then he gets to play with Pat Spencer.
Not too bad, yeah.
Clark would have scored a bunch of goals with Pat Spencer.
Yeah, you might even as well. The bottom line with Scanlon, you're playing against Paul Rabel, Rob Pennell, and Jordan Wolf, and then next year you play a guy in the Patriot League. You have confidence.
Here is Jordan Wolf. Over to Matt Danowski, one of 4 Duke Blue Devils on this roster, and that does not include the coaching staff. Matt Danowski gets Team USA on the board.
Like a fine wine, Danowski is playing the best lacrosse of his life. Major League Lacrosse this summer, Quint. He's been on fire. He's carrying that momentum into Netanya, and you see the burst and the low-angle shooting ability of who they called during the spring Coach 40. Tonight, he's just 40.
Matt Danowski, an assistant coach at Duke, a former Tewaaraton Award winner, and he has Team USA on the board.
2018 FIL World Lacrosse Championship is brought to you by Cascade Lacrosse, the #1 helmet in lacrosse. Cascade Lacrosse, a passion to protect. Honigs. Visit us at honigs.com to check out how we take every sport to the next level. And Trusted Choice Independent Insurance Agents. Protect what matters most. Go to trustedchoice.com to find a local agent today.
The 13th edition of the World Championships. First time that the host country has been someone other than the U.S., Canada, Australia, or England. We are in Netanya, Israel at Netanya Stadium. Beautiful setting. This place opened in 2012. Home of the soccer team here. 24,000 seat capacity. The U.S. had the face-off one. And then going back to retrieve it is Michael Earhart, the former Maryland Terrapin. This U.S. team a few days ago had a chance to visit Jerusalem, and their head coach, John Danowski, also the head coach at Duke, told us what an eye-opening and spiritual experience that was for a number of his players. Off the turnover, here's Ty Thompson. 94 in purple and gold.
Netanya, Israel, located about, an hour north of Tel Aviv.
Yep.
This has become the hotbed for Israel lacrosse, a group that was started back in 2011 by American Scott Neese. He had a dream to make lacrosse the national sport of Israel. And amazing to see the progress they've made, both in the national team, in youth programs, leagues.
We visited with Team Israel last night, and certainly an emotional journey for them. A lot of emotions during that dinner that we had with the team. They can now see the fruits of their labors getting that program off the ground. They beat Jamaica earlier today. Well, two teams you're looking at right now have their eyes on some big prizes. For the U.S., they've won the gold 9 times. They've won silver 3 times. So do the math. This is the 13th World Championships. The previous 12, the U.S. has finished no worse than second. But the expectation for Team USA is gold or bust.
Exactly. This Iroquois team, the highest they have earned is a bronze. 2014 back in Denver.
Rob Pennell back to Jordan Wolf. Wolf around X. Shoots and scores. You can dive in the crease. That's part of the international rules.
Both American goals, solo efforts. Danowski from X, and this time Jordan Wolf from behind the net. You talk about quickness and speed out of Lower Merion, Pennsylvania. Duke graduate 2014. Look at him launch. Look at the quickness, the power, and the explosion. Over 300 points at Duke, leading the Blue Devils to back-to-back NCAA titles, 2013 and 14. And Clark, a lot of those wins were on his shoulders.
He was amazing. If there wasn't someone named Lyle Thompson, Wolf might have a Tewaaraton trophy or two, but his calling card is catching the ball at X and that explosive ability you mentioned, Quint. When he dove, he increased his angle by about 3 or 4 feet. Wolf is an absolute beast at X. When he catches that ball at X, full throttle.
Jordan Wolf, big Philadelphia Eagles fan. You mentioned he's from Lower Merion High School, same high school that produced Kobe Bryant. Ned Crotty, Rob Pennell feeding in front. That one turned away. Attempt there by Drew Snyder from Seattle, Washington. Played at Maryland. He's got a brother, Will, who's currently at Maryland. Now Rob Pennell. And just like that, we're tied at 3. 3 unanswered by the U.S.
Paul sent out the warning flare earlier about this Iroquois Nationals defense. And now suddenly you've got 3 goals scored from behind the net. This is the second midfield unit for Team USA. But Pennell just takes that off the restart and X. Uses a pick, gains an advantage. There's no double team. That's just too easy. He's untouched.
There's not a ton of experience with the close defense of the Iroquois National. International, and to some extent, no experience at all for some of these members of that unit. Some guys converting to the defensive spot. They're not playing the pick game the right way. They're not communicating like seasoned KG vets would.
Greg Gorenlian tied up with Jeremy Thompson.
It's a nice look. You see the power of Gorenlian, 32 and white out of Penn State.
Forearms like Thanos.
Deadlifting 500 pounds for reps. I mean, he's an absolute animal, and he will win those tie-ups based on power. You beat Gorenlian with quickness off the whistle.
Anish Shroff, Quint Kesnick, Paul Carcaterra, Marab Severe with you here in Netanya, Israel. We got in a couple days ago. Beautiful coastal city right on the Mediterranean. Tom Schreiber. That one is wide. 118 miles of Mediterranean coastline here in Israel. 3 major bodies of water. They call it the Med, the Red, and the Dead. The Mediterranean, the Red Sea, and the Dead Sea. Saved by Warren Hill on the shot by Matt Danowski.
Quint, we saw Warren Hill in 2014 on the international stage. He stepped up.
He was good. Yeah, he was. Syracuse 2016. Undefeated as a junior college goalie at Onondaga, so he knows how to win. He had 12 saves and a big win over Scotland in the quarters. And a talented indoor goalie as well. I have no, really, I have extremely high expectations for Warren in this tournament. I think he'll play great.
Now Lyle Thompson. You'll see Lyle Thompson out of the box quite a bit. He actually played midfield as a freshman at Albany before moving to attack and blossoming. The all-time leading scorer in Division I. Kyle Jackson helped get that Michigan program going when John Paul was there. Left the Wolverines as their all-time leading scorer, later passed by Ian King. Now Miles Thompson. Over to his brother Lyle. Lyle, so many moves. That time has to taken away by Will Hawes. Bodies flying, flag is down, and we're going to get a penalty.
It's going to be against the U.S., against number 6.
That's Hawes.
Hawes just freight training Kyle Jackson, 47. You know, it's so difficult to hit a player, Kark, when they're crouched over a ground ball and bent over at the waist. It's almost impossible to avoid contact to the head and neck area.
And that looked like Jesse Bernhardt with the cross check coming in.
Once again, all penalties in international play non-releasable, so you can score multiple goals off of a penalty. The Iroquois with one man-up goal today. That was by Nanticoke. The Iroquois Nationals scored the first 3 goals of the game. Then the U.S. came back with 3 unanswered. Running clock until we reach the 3-minute mark of the 4th quarter. Great ball movement here.
This passing, one cradle and a pass. Ball's on target every time.
Lyle to cousin Ty, and that one turned away.
Big save by Galloway. You see his emotion. He's the leader of this defense, if not the entire team. Captain out of Syracuse. He's won more games than any goalie in Orange history.
Lyle Thompson, his second. And the Iroquois take a 4-3 lead.
Hey, now. You kidding me with this blistering heat? It is a beautiful thing watching 4 and purple play the game of lacrosse. He does it with what appears to be little effort. The stick is an extension of his body. He shoots that ball from his hip low area and the high riser. No goalie stopping that.
Yeah, Hartzell 81's late on the rotation, and that's not the guy you want to give a feet set, clear look at the goal. Turn and rake. Ball movement by the Iroquois, just so impressive.
De Hasenunde, he who flies over us, his Native American name. And here comes Jeremy Thompson, Lyle's older brother. And the Iroquois off the faceoff score again. Randy Stotts. So if you're scoring at home, of the 5 Iroquois goals, the Thompsons have 2. The Stotts now have 2, and Nanticoke's got 1.
Well, Randy Stotts is a man now. He has grown up incredibly after graduating from Syracuse. He plays Dallas Rattlers, formerly with the Atlanta Blaze, indoor, 6 Nations. He's 25 years old now, but look at him physically, Anish.
Sturdy.
He's a bull. He's sturdy. He was a string bean 4 years ago.
That's right.
Yeah, that's Tucker Durkin he's bodying up. Maybe the strongest defender in the field.
Baptiste left Denver as the all-time leader in career face-off win percentage, and he wins another for Team USA. You get the feeling if this Iroquois team can possess the ball, maybe even at 40%.
Yeah, enough possession.
They've got a shot. Here's Rob Pinnell. That defense, though, just can't get exposed against Team USA's offense. Officials blow the whistle. And the first quarter comes to an end. Again, there is a continuous clock until we reach the 3-minute mark of the 4th quarter. 1 period in the books. Team USA staring down a 2-goal deficit. Lyle Thompson with a pair for the Iroquois. Iroquois leading Team USA here in Netanya. And Paul, you're down on the field. A little miscommunication between the officials and the sideline. What just happened?
Well, the game clock, the official game clock at the scores table hit 0. That's why they called the quarter. However, the display clock that every player on the field is playing off of had 8 seconds left. So the organizers of this tournament got together. They just added 8 seconds to the clock.
Rob Pinnell finding the open man, and that is John Hawes for the goal. So as you saw, the second quarter clock had an extra 8 seconds. That's how they made up for the time. And it's a 5-4 game.
I'm confused, Anish, because if
it's going to happen, listen, it's going to happen a few times.
That's considered the first quarter because they just called timeout. The team's going to huddles and they'll change goals.
Well, I looked on the scoreboard and it had 20:08.
Yeah, why would it have 20:08 and not 08? They played out the first. Excuse me. They played out the first quarter with that addition of 8 seconds and a huge goal by Team USA.
But hold on. I'm looking at the scoreboard. It says 1949. Our bug says 1936. So wouldn't that be more than 8 seconds?
Now we're having a discussion with the face-offs. You see Scott Marr, assistant coach on the right for the Iroquois. Seth Tierney on the left. That's Jeremy Thompson, 74.
So you can have either one happen, right? You can have withhold by either team, right? So the first guy's down and he's not moving the ball, and you're not playing him, or he's not playing you, right? Yeah, it's withhold on the second guy. It's withhold on the second guy, right? So it can go either way. So we're looking at both ways.
1 minute. 1 minute.
If he's winning the play, if White wins the play, and you're not playing him, and he just holds, then it's withhold on him, right? He wins on that, and you're on top of him.
They added the 8 seconds to the 20 seconds. That's a malfunction as well. It should have just read 8 seconds remaining in that first quarter.
And I don't understand why we have an additional break there, Paul. We're already
because the start of the second quarter is now going to happen after this break.
But we've had 2 of those breaks.
So they put up 20:08 when it should have just read 8 seconds. That's what you're saying, Paul?
Yes.
But we had taken the timeout to end the first quarter already. So these players are then given an additional break, which they can use on a hot night.
No. Here's the issue, though. If there were only 8 seconds to go in that quarter, according to that game clock, it took, 11 seconds to score that goal.
Yeah.
But they're going to count the goal anyway. So they've got to get this figured out as we progress here in this tournament to make sure the clock is working and make sure everybody's on point with the rules. There are some rule disparities between what most people are familiar with. That's the NCAA rules versus the international rules. 20-minute quarters, there is running time as opposed to 15-minute quarters with stoppage. Overtime is not sudden death, at least right away. You play 2 complete 4-minute periods. If you're still tied, then you go to sudden victory. And there is no shot clock, there is no clearing clock.
Yeah, I don't want to come out throwing haymakers, but international officiating is subpar and needs to be improved if this sport is ever going to be considered for the Olympics.
I think, too, from a rules standpoint, again, not having a shot clock, not having a clearing clock, you also invite yourself to see a slower game. And if you want to sell this sport on a global scale, and as you said, Quint, there are people who would like to see the sport get to the Olympic level. Give the people a faster game. Give the people a more exciting brand of lacrosse.
Absolutely, positively, Anish.
I've been excited after this first quarter, gentlemen.
I think these 2 teams, Clark, I mean, you know what you're going to get from Team USA and the Iroquois national team.
Again, all I'm saying is you have great quality athletes. Unfortunately, the officiating there at the end of the first quarter was not on par with the product on the field.
But the only way the game's going to grow is if we have officials from Japan, England, and Australia closing the gap. That's the way that the game's going to grow. So there's going to be some hiccups. But just to clear it all up, there should have just been 8 seconds, not 20.
And that goal shouldn't have counted because it was scored after 11 seconds.
Right. That was what I was trying to get at.
The official said it was scored in the 8 seconds remaining, and then the clock continued to run.
That one almost got in. Tom Schreiber, and that was a shot, so closest to the ball, gets the backup, but there is a flag down. Now, something else to watch. When a flag goes down, the delayed penalty we often see in the MLL and in NCAA, if the officials deem you're not trying to score when that flag goes down, they'll blow the whistle. The orange ball, Quint.
Yeah, you know, it's a circa early 2000s orange ball. I think they can do a better job and pump up the neon, make it a little more spicy, easier to see at night. You either got to turn that neon up and make it super bright or go to a white at night. White ball.
Marcus Holman, the extra attackman on the man up for Team USA, 1 in white. Left to North Carolina as the all-time leading scorer before Joey Sankey passed him That pass knocked out. That's a big break there for the Iroquois Nationals if they can get it, but Rob Pinnell able to scoop it up for Team USA. Ned Crotty now. Holman had a look.
This Team USA, one issue they have offensively is they lack lefties.
Why is that important?
Field balance. They've got Ned Crotty playing that low lefty spot. Ryan Brown right here, who's got a hammer. He can sling it with either righty or lefty, but he's predominantly a righty. A guy like Will Manny would have looked good in this uniform. Team USA playing so well in that MLL All-Star game, but on this power play, Brown is just given too much room. And you talk about a shooting stroke that young players should pattern their game after, Kark, and Ryan Brown is the goods.
Ryan Brown is one of the greatest all-time shooters. He has multiple release points with both hands, changes levels. Can he fit the bill from a lefty sniper standpoint? Absolutely. Quint, I think you're talking more specifically about that in-tight lefty finisher, because Brown, from range, is equal righty and lefty, but it's the in-tight finisher. Off of the dodge, who can Schreiber throw that quick pass to, buried on the bottom left side?
Off the face-off violation, here comes Team USA. Kevin Unterstein played at Hofstra, now an assistant coach there for Seth Tierney, and Seth Tierney, one of the assistants on John Danowski's Team USA staff. Those two go way back as well. Tierney, a former Danowski assistant when John Danowski was at Hofstra.
How many former coaches on this Team USA roster?
They all know each other.
Tucker Durkin's head coach.
John Galloway in
Marcus
goal.
Holman's going to be coaching at Utah.
Now with his dad Brian getting that program off the ground. Jordan Wolf, look at the moves. That time he forgot the ball. Big check, no flag. Now the ride from Team USA. Jerry Stotts trapped, gets it back to Warren Hill, and this is the advantage of no clearing clock. You can clear it back.
Fans love it. Don't have to be in a rush. That turnover started by Tyson Bomberry. He's having a great game, 18 in purple.
A rising senior at Syracuse. His cousin Brendan Bomberry just graduated from the Cuse and is on this Iroquois national team as the Iroquois and Mark Burnham call a timeout. Tied at 5. The Iroquois Nationals jumped out to a 3-0 lead. The U.S. answered with 3 straight. And 2 more by the Iroquois to make it 5-3 before the U.S. answered again to tie it at 5. 46 countries will participate in the 2018 World Lacrosse Championships. The blue division, that is the best division. You're seeing 2 teams from the blue division. Those are the top 6 teams. It is the U.S., Canada, the Iroquois, England, Australia, and Scotland. 3 days of pool play, and then that will determine the ranked groups for the play-in games. The semifinals, July 19th. The championship. Set your DVR or stay up all night. 3 a.m. Eastern, July 21st on ESPN2.
I think the spirit of this event is to build friendship and peace and solidarity, to inspire and motivate young players both here in Israel and globally, to search and celebrate excellence, of this U.S. team, the Canada, the Iroquois, and then to compete and raise each other up through competition.
John Danowski, the head coach for the U.S., 3 national championships at Duke. Played for another championship this past Memorial Day. Duke falling to Yale.
It's a very different challenge for Coach Danowski, who's, you're dealing with guys who are 25 to 35 years old, who chemistry is going to be tough to come by. It's earned in college. It just comes naturally.
23 alpha males, as he said.
And so that's his biggest challenge right now, to find combinations of players that play well together, to develop leaders, and to develop a winning chemistry.
Spoke to him before the game, right before a face-off. Said he's amazed at how selfless all these superstars have been. They've all bought in, the training camps and the trip over to Netanya. It's been a ride for him as well, getting to coach his son, Matt Danowski, who's one of his assistant coaches at Duke. This is an experience John Danowski will look back and have incredible memories.
Lyle Thompson against Michael Earhart. Earhart helicopters the stick out of Lyle's hands.
Garage sale in Netanya.
Hunter Stein racing up the other way, plays it back. And now the U.S. will settle.
Tell you, those markets in Jerusalem are famous, Anish. But that was epic by Earhart.
Against one of the all-time greats.
Not always a bad thing when you get the stick knocked out of your hands. It just shows you how loose the stick is in his hands, and it gives him the ability to do all those crazy things with it because he's never tight. He's not gripping. Now, it happens time and time again. Got a problem.
It's always a bad thing when you're the ball carrier and your stick is helicoptered.
Tells you about his wrists.
Tells you that the ball's on the ground and going the other way.
Matt Danowski, we haven't worked together in more than
That's like saying it's a good thing for a downhill skier to lose a ski in a race. I mean, really, who wins this? The D guy wins. TKO.
You're not getting it. It's okay.
We'll send Quint out to where the Riptides are tomorrow. Matt Danowski fakes it. Schreiber, nice dodge. Pennell tiptoeing around the crease. Looking for an angle, nothing there. And now Pennell retreats over to Jordan Wolf. 5 goals by 5 different goal scorers for Team USA. Silver medalists back in 2014, losing to Canada in the final. Wolf, great change of direction. Now Danowski in traffic, one-handed whip, and there to back up is Pennell.
Patience becomes a virtue on offense without the shot clock. And then defensively, you've got to discipline yourself to play through long possessions, to communicate through fatigue. 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. Are you willing to dig in and play defense for 3 minutes?
Here comes Tom Schreiber. Now to Paul Rabel, who's been quiet so far. Taken away. Shoveled ahead. Here comes Lyle Thompson. Accelerating across the midline. Thompson slows up. Thompson out on the side of the net. No, that went in.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, you know what, Paul? Maybe that helicopter woke him up.
Doesn't need to. This guy looks at the game differently. He's got a short memory, an incredible athletic burst, and the skill of an absolute legend. Lyle Thompson played midfield in high school. He played midfield his freshman year at Albany, but he is a true lacrosse player in every sense of the word.
Iroquois run from defense to offense off the bad Rabel shot. But what stands out there, Anish, you said, he pulls up, he slows down. Not only did he trick you, he tricked the defender, Schreiber, and just suddenly stepped back, almost like a pull-up jumper, creating some separation. He's got the hat trick.
Stutter step there.
That's right.
That was Miles Thompson, who tied an NCAA Division I record with 82 goals in his senior year. He and brother Lyle shared the Tewaaraton Award, the highest individual honor in the sport. They finished that season 1-2 on the single season all-time points list. And Miles no longer number 2 because Lyle Thompson, as a senior, had the second highest scoring season in all of Division I. But that was a special year, 2014. Saved by Galloway, rebound loose in front.
That was stout defense by Durkin. Tucker Durkin, 51 in white on the corner against Stotts.
11 in white, Joel White, a standout at Syracuse. Most goals by a long pole for any player to come through Central New York. Now Ryan Brown over to Wolf, checked by Tyson Bomberry. This Iroquois team did not land in Israel until this afternoon, and they've got a 6-5 lead midway through the second quarter. Ned Crotty featured in a Relaxing with Peacock episode
Look who's covering him.
Lyle Thompson. That's Tahoga.
This is a matchup for Crotty. He should not relinquish the ball.
Crotty gives it up. Pinnell. John Hawes hit the crossbar. And it's picked up by the Iroquois. Miles Thompson. A low shot, that one wide.
Tell you, he had one more opportunity.
Yeah, he did.
He had a wing player open. You're screaming as loud as you can at your teammate. Sometimes they just don't hear you or want to rip it themselves.
We get a timeout with 9:47 to go in this second quarter. The great Lyle Thompson, he who flies over us. He's been the best player on the field tonight. The two-time Tewaaraton Award winner and Division I's all-time points leader. A first-half hat trick for the Iroquois Nationals. The Iroquois Nationals leading Team USA. 9:47 to go in the second quarter, and we say hello to Marav Severe.
Hey guys, you guys already made a couple really good points about this city and about this country. We're standing in the middle of a modern stadium that, like you said, was built in 2012 in the middle of a country that's just celebrated its 70th anniversary, but there's so much history rooted in here. Just a couple miles up the road in Caesarea, where you have Roman ruins, and Jerusalem, as you mentioned, some of the teams already making their way to Jerusalem to take a look at the old city. And really, we were there a couple days ago. You couldn't turn a corner without seeing one of the teams that we'll see playing throughout this tournament. It took us nearly double the time to get Team USA to leave the Church of the Holy Sepulchre because they were so overwhelmed with what they were seeing in the history of this country and what it can present to them. So guys, it seems as if this tournament is as much of a cultural lesson as it is a world championship.
Now, this country is a living, breathing crucible to history. Now, we took the ride up from Tel Aviv, where the airport is, up to Netanya. There's a very Western, very modern feel to it. It almost feels like you're going through the United States. Here in Netanya, you look out your hotel window and you see the streets cleanly lined, the palm trees, the ocean, and it feels like you're in South Beach. But you venture down to some of the places Marav was talking about. We're going to go to Jerusalem tomorrow, and boy, it's hard not to feel, you know, the whispers and the echoes of what has happened here. This land, a living crucible to history. As that Paul Rabel shot is saved by Warren Hill. Three major religions call Jerusalem sacred. Judaism, Christianity. For Islam, it's the third holiest city, a home to lost empires. If you're a fan of history and the Crusades, and you think of some of the major players that have come through there, Raymond of Toulouse and Godfrey, Baldwin and Tancred, the Lionheart, Saladin. Jerusalem's going to be fun tomorrow. I'm excited.
It is. You know, and you mentioned all that stuff, Nation, and I think about the Iroquois and how this event would not have been whole had they not made it. They're here. They represent the link from the past to the future. You know, they gave us this great game of lacrosse. And thankfully, they've made it here, and they'll participate. They add so much to this event.
They were telling us before the game about a symbol that they have prominently on the back of their helmets that represents a dish with a spoon. So that shot goes wide by Brendan Bomberry, and the idea is that back when so many tribes formed these peace treaties, the dish with the spoon represented this idea that everybody can take from the land but leave some for the others, and that's a message they wanted to bring to Israel.
This kid's for real. Austin Stats, 83 in purple. He's the left-handed version of his brother, Randy. He's a handful.
Look at this Iroquois team. You've got 5 Thompsons, 3 Stotts, 2 of them are related, and a pair of Bomberries. That's 10 of the 23 players on this roster.
Do the math, Clark. Austin Stotts, 75 points in 11 games.
I'll take that.
Here comes Team USA in transition. Wolf. Now Ryan Brown, left-handed again, and too high. No netting back there, heads up.
Gents, I just spoke to Lars Tiffany that last timeout. He's the defensive coordinator for the Iroquois. Head coach at University of Virginia. He said they had to do a better job playing the picks behind and be more confident with the initial defense. And what he means by that is USA will dodge. You have to have faith in the initial defensive approach, because if not, the whole defense will spin out of control. The ball bangs around, and the boys in white will score. So be confident with your one-on-one matchups, he told me.
RP3 now. Rob Pennell gets the pick from Crotty. Pennell plays it back. Snyder. John Hawes now. U.S. will keep spinning it. Ned Crotty. Good recovery that time by Jerry Stotts. No relation to Austin and Randy. Now RP3 got the step. Back to Crotty.
Look at Crotty's skills. He was handcuffed, managed to catch it. Great feet, great hands. Ned Crotty, 22 in white.
An assistant coach at Duke this past year. Former Tewaaraton Award winner on that 2010 Duke title team. Hawes. That one off the mark.
This offense is humming right now. Nice movement off ball. I like the spacing. Pretty geometric. Guys pressing the corner. Nice reaction off ball. Seth Tierney, the head coach at Hofstra, is their offensive coordinator. It's starting to look like a cohesive unit. Put in a lot of time this summer.
Pennell gets the pick from Brown. Pennell working on the shorty. Changes field. Crotty on the inside. Ryan Brown falling down. It's taken away by the Iroquois Nationals.
Brown paid the price trying to get to pay dirt.
Sure did. You surprised at all how fresh this Iroquois team looks?
Well, you know, I think when you think about jet lag, and typically maybe it hasn't set in. I don't know, Paul, your eyes down low on their bench should be maybe a better indication of these guys huffing and puffing coming off the field. How do they look physically, and what's the energy level?
Lyle Thompson told me at lunch he didn't sleep much. He said only 7 hours, which to me is a lot. When you have kids, you take 6 and run. His brother Miles slept 10. So I think they're running on regular East Coast U.S. time. Face-off is at 1:30 East Coast time. They slept overnight. It might not be as big of an issue. I think playing tomorrow would have been a disaster.
Vandercook, he is a lot to handle. Stotts on the inside. Oh, Andy Stotts. He's bulked up, hasn't he, Q?
He has changed dramatically. When we saw him in our hotel, I'm like, who is that monster? And Coach Burnham's like, oh, that's Randy. I'm like, that's Randy? What has he been eating? Look at him use his power here as he posts up like a power forward. Hips and shoulders, and then without hesitation on that roll, watch the release. It's body contact roll, and shot comes out, and Galloway's beaten to the punch from close range.
Power is one thing, balance is the other. He didn't have his core and his base grounded when he took that shot. Randy Stotts from the right side, we've seen him now swat defenders, whether it was Durkin or Bernhardt. This kid has got a lot of strength, balance, and awareness around that goal line extended, where you think he has no angle. Cans it.
He's got a funky style too, Clark. I still have seen him hundreds of times. I don't have a clean read on his bread and butter.
You know, when you watch Randy Stotts, he doesn't have that swooping, beautiful motion in his cradle like Lyle Thompson or Miles Thompson. He's very methodical and almost rigid compared to some of these other Native American players.
RP3 over to Tom Schreiber. And now Matt Danowski. The U.S. has never led in this game. Errant pass. Trickles to the wing. Rabel. Former star at Hopkins won 2 titles there. Now Schreiber. Back to Rabel. With a hard rip and an easy save for Warren Hill. Quick, before the game, you were surprised that Schreiber and Rabel were playing together. Why?
Because John Danowski said that he was likely to keep them separated. And I asked the offensive coordinator, Seth Geary, about that. He said, hey, it's a long week. So I still think they're trying to look for pairings or trifectas, so to speak, three-man groups that effectively raise each other up. You know, combinations that make you better than you really are. I thought in the MLL All-Star game, the Crotty, Rabel, and John Hawes group was the most productive and looked really good together. So I was surprised to see them break that group down. The ultimate goal is to beat the Iroquois and then potentially Team Canada to win a championship on Saturday, July 21st. And I think John Danowski, of all people, knows how to get a team to the finish line.
He started slow and finished fast many times. Less than a minute to go in this opening half. The Iroquois national men's lacrosse team with a chance to match their biggest lead of the game. They jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Thompson shook Will Hawes out of his shoes. Lyle Thompson. There's 5 Thompsons on that Iroquois roster. Less than 40 seconds. Here's Lyle against the short stick. 3 goals in this first half for number 4. Kyle Jackson, Swarm, lost it. But the Iroquois able to get the timeout while he had control of the ball with 21 seconds to go in this first half and a 7-5 lead.
The last seconds of the first half.
More lacrosse for you from Netanya, Israel this Saturday, 7:30 a.m. Eastern. It'll be the U.S. and Australia. Chris Cotter, Paul Carcaterra will have the call for that game, and then Quint and I will have Scotland and Canada at 11 a.m. Big deal for Scotland. They're now in the blue division for the first time.
Yeah, to step up for the Scots. They were out here for the opening ceremonies in their kilts. And then, of course, Team Canada, you're going to want to check them out.
Defending champs.
The veteran leadership of Brody Merrill and a Jeff Snyder, and then the electric goal scoring that come with the highest of all skill levels. So a fun team to watch, part of our coverage that continues through July 21st.
And something Kark has been saying for a few days leading up to this, Jake Withers, the face-off man for Canada. Paul, you think he's got a chance to have a real special tournament?
I do. I think the combination of Jake Withers and Jeff Snyder. Jeff Snyder can be Withers, Mr. Miyagi. He's seasoned. He's played in so many world championships dating back to 2006. Psychologically, he gets that position as well as anyone. But Withers, in terms of the international style of face-offs, with a little bit of extended break between the ball, he is a monster on ground balls, so he's suited towards this.
Mark Burnham, the head coach for the Iroquois Nationals, head coach at IMG, and he's got assistants on his staff who have pretty good resumes in Scott Marr and Lars Tiffany, and former Iroquois national player Brett Bucktooth.
Mark Burnham played in 4 of these world championships. He was a talented midfielder out of Syracuse. He played some close D, he played some pole.
Here comes Stotts looking for his 3rd goal. Back to Lyle Thompson looking for his 4th, and there to back up, brother Miles. Final seconds of this opening half. And time expires.
Words.
Getting a little heated down on the field. Players have to be separated. Austin Stotts in there. Jake Bernhardt was in there for Team USA. We've been critical of the officials in this first half, but they
good second quarter.
Separated that, and yes, had a good second quarter after some timing issues early on. Down to Paul.
With the Iroquois head coach Mark Burnham. Coach, let's start off with the delay. It took you guys a couple extra days to get to Netanya. What did you tell your group since they arrived today and had to play game day?
I just told them to play lacrosse, what they're used to and what they're good at. You know, the chemistry's there as far as our guys. We haven't had a problem with that. You know, coming off that field today, I thought they started really well. I think they played to where we thought. We were impressed with the way they played in the first half. We started getting a little bit crazy with the offensive spread there. I think we rushed it a little bit when the D was had the ball on the other end. So I think I'm really happy the way they're playing. I thought our goalie stepped up really well, and I don't see the jet lag. I think a lot of it's adrenaline right now, but for the most part, we're playing the way we thought we would.
Guys like Lyle Thompson, Miles Thompson, Randy Stotts, the list goes on and on. Offensively, what have you been most impressed with in half one?
Sharing the ball. I mean, everybody's unselfish. Of course, there's a few shots where we took one-on-ones, but if we get that extra one more and we get the ball moving, I think the sky's the limit for our offense. As you know, they're great players, and you don't really have to coach them as well as just manage who you put in at the time and just keep them, you know, playing well together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see what kind of team comes out of halftime. They've been riding the adrenaline for a 2-goal lead. The Iroquois Nationals on top of the U.S. 7-5 at the break. Trevor Baptiste making his way to the face-off X for Team USA. Start of the third quarter. The Iroquois Nationals, bronze medalists 4 years ago, with a 2-goal lead on Team USA. This is a jet-lagged Iroquois national team. They're tired. Will their adrenaline be muted by halftime, Quint?
We'll find out. I think the first 5 minutes are critical here. This is a team in purple. It's being led by Lyle Thompson with the hat trick, and Randy Stotts has got a pair. One thing that stood out from that first half, though, about the U.S., no transition goals, no extra man goals. They've been content to play half court.
Paul Carcaterra down on the field. Cark, you caught up with John Danowski. What did he tell you?
Thought his guys were a little tight. With all these superstars, sometimes he mentioned guys don't want to be that guy right away and don't want to play too selfish, but he needs guys to emerge. He also mentioned the footing. Some of these guys are having a tough time planting their foot in their dodge, going one-on-one against the Iroquois defense.
Ryan Brown just off the mark.
Also knows Anish they can be successful in the pick game.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of that in that first half. Pinnell and Wolf, Pinnell and Crotty a couple of times. This is Rob Pinnell, former Tewaton Award winner, standout at Cornell. And Rob Pinnell makes it a 1-goal game.
Get the ball behind the net if you're Team USA. That's their 6th goal, 4th from a dodge from X, and that's point behind. It was Danowski, Wolf, and Pinnell in the first half, and here's Rob driving up left-handed, switches to his right. That's the classic question mark dodge, because it looks like you're drawing kind of a question mark. Switches hands, and nothing Warren Hill can do. Pinnell and this USA attack, I think that's where the advantage lies for the Stars and Stripes, attacking this inexperienced Iroquois close defense.
Pinnell owns that area. The 5-and-5 area, they call it. And Taylor Smoke is a lefty defender. He played cross forearm and had no chance in terms of his approach to Pinnell. He's got options there, too. He runs the question mark. Sometimes he does the little hesitation where it looks like he's faking the inside roll and then stings it. He is masterful in that area of the field.
And I go back to it right here, Paul. You go back to your strength, go back to what works. Get the ball behind the goal to number 3.
And I would continue to go to the left side against Taylor Smoke, who is a lefty, who has to play cross forearm. He's kind of running against the grain with his stick. It's not his natural lefty on righty defense. Will give him a lot of trouble.
Here is Jordan Wolf. Team USA has never led in this game. The Iroquois Nationals jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Pinnell's got 2 goals. Over to Ryan Brown off his cross. Rob Pinnell 4 years ago in Colorado, the most outstanding attackman of the tournament, led Team USA in scoring. The Americans with a silver medal finish, though.
6, 12 on a team.
Wolf attacking Tyson Bomberry. Ball loose. And we get a whistle. It'll stay with Team USA.
Interference call against the Iroquois defense. Tyson Bomberry doing a nice job on that ISO from Jordan Wolf. He rode him up a little high maybe, but 18 in purple has been a playmaker today on defense, and he's the leader. He's a young guy, but he's got a big voice.
Here comes Snyder. Drew Snyder along with John Hawes and Ned Crotty, the midfield for Team USA. Rob Pennell with a hat trick, and RP3 has tied this game at 7.
Feed the beast. And the beast right now in the early stages of the third quarter is Rob Pennell. You saw him last time go up that 5-and-5 area. Own it with a question mark. That's where he has options. You see the hesitation, the back and forth. He is so versatile around that part of the cage more than any player in the world. That's where he's the matchup nightmare. He brings you above goal line extended. If you play high, bangs you low. You play low, he gets in front and shoots.
Quint, you talked about the first 5 minutes of this quarter. The U.S. winning faceoffs. They're controlling the ball. Rob Pennell's got a couple of goals, but now off a turnover, the Iroquois Nationals get it back. Jeremy Thompson played at OCC in Syracuse, the older brother of Lyle and Miles Thompson. You got cousin Ty, you got Heine Thompson as well. 4 brothers and cousin Ty.
I think the adjustment for USA's defense has got to be revolving around Lyle Thompson and Randy Stotts as Dodgers. Okay, are they going to double them faster? Are they going to stay back? You know, how are they treating them as ball carriers?
Austin Stotts stripped, picked up by Unterstein. Up ahead, Bernhardt. Here comes Jake Bernhardt. Now Rob Pennell swings it to the wing. Ryan Brown, and the U.S. with its first lead.
There's your transition. I asked for it at halftime. This is a team, the U.S., who should be electric going from D to O, starting with goaltender John Galloway, who throws gorgeous rainbow outlets. But the grounder and the really aggressive pass to Bernhardt, ball's in his stick for a fraction of a second. And look at Pennell operate from the point, puts that right on the money to Ryan Brown. Pennell's been involved with the last 3 goals. This one in transition. Ryan Brown left-handed from the wing.
The question heading into the tournament, who would be the lefty finisher? Ryan Brown is like Steph Curry from the perimeter. Sprays it righty, lefty from range. But he's showing you he can finish in tighter quarters. And that is so important for the U.S. because when they run those breaks from offense to defense, Pennell is going to be on the top right, feeding the lower left attackers.
Brown now an assistant coach at Marquette. Second all-time in goals at Quint's alma mater, Johns Hopkins, behind only the great Terry Reardon.
Danger zone for the Iroquois right now. Coming out of this second half, we talked about the importance of the first 5 minutes. Don't want to say they're flat. They're just not making any plays so far.
I wondered if halftime would slow their momentum. You know, you get a minute to pause and to think and to rest. Does that fatigue then set in? Here's Matt Danowski. Schreiber off the feed from Holman. And Team USA has scored 4 unanswered here in the third.
When fatigue sets in, your defensive communication breaks down and your heads can spin out of control. The U.S. ball movement off of quick dodges against this inexperienced Iroquois defense could be their bread and butter down the stretch.
Tom Schreiber, a standout at Princeton, was an assistant coach for Uganda in the 2014 World Championships games. 4-time All-American, most points by a Princeton Tiger midfielder, and he has given Team USA a 2-goal lead. The Americans with 4 straight to open this third quarter, and the catalyst for this run, Rob Pennell.
Talked about him in the open. He's got a hat trick right now in his comfort zone behind the goal. Change of speed, change of direction, uses a pick right there to gain an advantage. This is a classic question mark. He turns away from the defender, changing hands to the outside. Here you see the stutter step and how that keeps the defender off balance. Pinnell's got 3 goals, 1 assist. Big day for number 3, one of the greats in Cornell history, leading that team to championship weekend multiple times.
You know what's great about this for a lot of lacrosse fans who maybe don't pay as close attention to the MLL because those games
and ignite like a fucking man. Don't forget what got you here right now. Absolutely. Hey, attack. Be ready in the second round to throw back. When we throw back and go again, make sure we're ready to fish up again and throw forward. If you guys can end the rainbow, I mean, all this shit.
This event, much like this country, is a passport in time. It allows you to go back to when Lyle Thompson played at Albany, when Rob Pinnell was breaking all sorts of records at Cornell, to see Paul Rabel again. You go back to the Hopkins days. Not everybody who's a lacrosse fan is an MLL fan, or some like the MLL but don't like college. This kind of gives you an opportunity to relive the past.
I was going to say,
and we get to see some of the all-time greats.
To retell Rob Pinnell's story about how he signed with Quinnipiac as a rising senior and was not getting the recruiting love that a player of his stature felt he deserved. He put on weight, he grew 3 inches, and then he had to go to Deerfield. Ultimately ends up at Cornell, showing us how insane early recruiting really is.
Trevor Baptiste was going to Division III Franklin and Marshall before Denver came calling, and
that's a great segue, Anish.
All he did was become the greatest face-off man in college lacrosse history.
Tying Quinnipiac to F&M.
We met Baptiste's parents outside of her hotel. They were telling us how much he enjoys swimming. He's got the Mediterranean now as his backyard for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, tough currents, man. I thought we were going to lose our producer, John Kettering.
You should have seen me. I can't swim, so I was gingerly wading in while Kark and Kettering.
Hey, gingerly? That's being kind.
But when we go to the Dead Sea, I'll be the one guy to
can
sink.
actually swim in the Dead Sea.
Do you have swimmies? True or false? Do you have adult swimmies? True or false? Don't
I brought a compression vest.
There you go.
For the Dead Sea, you brought a compression vest.
I did. Yeah. Our producer John Kettering had some nice wave rides. Got a mouthful of seawater though. I'll be the first guy to go float in the Dead Sea and not float. That's why I brought the vest.
See if the Iroquois can get something going. Lyle Thompson hasn't had many touches. They really haven't had a decent possession.
Good job, Colin.
9-17 USA on top. Randy Stotts over to Kyle Jackson, the Michigan Wolverine. MLL and NLL experience. Played a lot of sports growing up. Lacrosse, hockey, volleyball, tennis, badminton.
Played for Team Canada in the U19 championships. He's actually a Chippewa. That's how he qualifies. 24-year-old former MVP for the Wolverines.
Volleyball, he must have been the libero, because Jackson is not a big dude.
Here comes Tom Schreiber. Schreiber through the defense. Feet inside. Hits the deck, and we get a flag. Multiple flags. Get a push from behind. All penalties non-releasable in this format, so Team USA will go up a man for a minute.
It's a good look at John Danowski. Recently agreed to an extension through 2023 at Duke, winner of 3 NCAA titles, sitting on 399 Division I wins.
Who leaves Duke first, Dino or Coach K?
Good question. Twitter poll.
Pinnell. Brown steps into one. Pinnell to Brown. Third goal of the game for Ryan Brown. Rob Pinnell has had a hand in 4 of the 5 U.S. goals in this third quarter. And the Americans down by 2 at the half with a 5-0 run to open the third.
This thing's a rocket ship on the extra man. Brown sets his feet and looks the goal down. Turn and rake. Nobody has a sweeter release than Ryan Brown. 4 and white. Grip it and rip it.
'18 FIL World Lacrosse Championship is brought to you by Coram Watches, official timekeeper of the 2018 World Lacrosse Championship. Epic Lacrosse, the official equipment supplier of the 2018 FIL World Championship. And Trusted Choice Independent Insurance Agents. Protect what matters most. Go to trustedchoice.com to find a local agent today.
Welcome back to Netanya Stadium here in Netanya, Israel. It's about 30 kilometers north of Tel Aviv, right on the Mediterranean Sea. The Iroquois Nationals, bronze medalists 4 years ago in Colorado, jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Lyle Thompson, 3 goals in the first half. The Iroquois had a 2-goal lead at the break, but the U.S. 4 goals in which Rob Pinnella's had a hand in this third quarter. 5-0 run here in the third. And Team USA has turned a 7-5 halftime deficit into a 10-7 lead, and still plenty of time remaining here in the third. And you know, with the Iroquois, we wonder, after halftime, what kind of team shows up? This was a squad that had passport issues and had trouble getting to Israel. They had some airport delays on top of that, and you factor in the travel odyssey. Long story short, they arrived today. The U.S. team had already been here for a few days. This Iroquois team got in today. It's an 11-hour flight. We didn't see the ill effects of that in the first half, but the halftime break, perhaps now you start to see some of those tired legs. Pinnell inside to Hawes. That one turned away. Marcus Holman able to track it down. We're excited for the start of Utah lacrosse. The Utes going Division I, and Holman will help his dad, Brian, get that program off the ground. Quinn Kesnick has already been lobbying to get that season opener with Vermont on ESPNU.
88% of our fans would be very interested in watching it, Anish. February 1st against Vermont. The Utes, the first Pac-12 men's program to add a Division I team.
Holman. Kark is on board, although we may never see him because he'll be on the slopes.
Yeah, you don't have to twist my arm to call that game, but they're so pumped in the state of Utah, and the growth of the game in the Valley area is going to be incredible because Brian Holman and his staff, Marcus, we mentioned, Will Manny, Adam Gittleman, they are becoming ambassadors for the sport, and the growth of lacrosse in Utah will rally around their Division I team, the Utes.
We saw a pretty good player come out of Utah in this year's NCAA tournament, Bubba, the talented freshman at Maryland.
Salt Lake City.
Casey Rose, standout midfielder.
How about Miles Thompson, the strike? Miles Thompson!
Well, he slept for 11 hours. Miles slept the entire trip, so he's well rested. And he's laying the boom against Joe Fletcher, who's been a little nicked up with that knee injury. You see the left brace on Fletcher, who was injured in a Major League Lacrosse game. And the strength in the wrists and the rope.
You know, Fletcher had to pass a physical exam to be taken on this trip. Rosters are limited to 23. And when this tournament starts, that's their 23. But Paul, you pointed it out. That didn't look good on his left leg. It didn't seem to have the power there to fend off Miles Thompson.
Baptiste now controls for Team USA.
That had to be a great moment for Dolores and Jerome, parents of Miles and Lyle, who are having big days here. They're at home watching this game on TV.
I talked to Brett Bucktooth, one of the assistants and the former players for the Iroquois national team before the game, and Now, talking about Lyle, who has become a transcendent figure in this game. And he said so many times guys from the Native American community have success. They become a big deal within the community. With Lyle Thompson, and to some extent Miles too, it's been different because their stars transcend their own communities. They're big in their communities, but they're rock stars like Paul Rabel is to the rest of the sport. As Snyder finds the back of the net.
46 nations here. The teams in the blue division are the elite squads, and all the other participating teams stay around and watch their games. They want to learn from the best. They want to interact with the best. John Hawes out of North Carolina, where he grew up when his dad was down there. He has been a terrific shooter this summer in Major League Lacrosse when his feet are set. So you do some ball movement, he pops to an open space, and he has been a big-time step-down shooter.
He's a great story too, Quint, because when we watched him at Maryland, he was good his first 3 years, but then his senior year he became a star and actually emerged, and his best lacrosse has happened post-collegiately.
John Hawes with that last goal and was an assistant at Penn State this past season.
In your defense, Anish, Schreiber typically wears a number in the 20s. He's wearing 13 tonight.
That's the first time you've come to my defense since we've become friends.
We're friends?
No, there you go. See, it lasted. It was a fleeting moment.
Happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you.
How old are you, 36?
25.
Like to bust your chops, but you're a gem.
Rob Pinnell. This guy's calling out my age on the air.
I have a lot of respect for you, Anish, for bringing your wife and an infant baby on this trip.
Should have been in the room last night. There's Tom Schreiber. 3 hours of sleep.
That's Tom Schreiber. And if he's healthy, Quinn, he's the two-time reigning MLL MVP. The back-to-back seasons and then the Rookie of the Year season in the Indoor Professional League put together two of the greatest years in professional lacrosse history. If he's healthy, and if they could find pieces to the puzzle, like you mentioned with this offensive midfield group, who plays with who, the U.S. will have the best midfield in the field, and it won't even be close.
I have huge confidence in this coaching staff. Joe Amplo defensively, Seth Tierney offensively, John Danowski as the mastermind of seeing continual improvement from Team USA and not getting sucked into the false wins early on in the tournament, but peaking on July 21st. And that was a good sign. That was Rabel with the assist, Schreiber off ball. There's a lot of things they can do. Their patterns look crisp and sharp. I'm starting to see roll definition. I really like what I'm seeing, especially now in the second half.
7 goals in this third quarter, and the U.S. with its biggest margin of the game, 12-8. John Hawes able to scoop it up. The FIL World Lacrosse Championship is streaming live on ESPN. Download the ESPN app and sign up for ESPN Plus today. We have a handful of games on ESPNU and ESPN2 throughout this tournament. ESPN Plus, you get to see everything.
Interesting stories. You know, this Israeli team, really their second world championship. Can they rise up, finish in the top 5 or so? They've got a terrific core of American-born players, many who have moved over here and live over here full-time and who are growing the game in Israel now.
Pinnell backhanded. Now that's what this event, talking to the coaches, comes down to. For some teams, they may have the talent, but chemistry can get you pretty far.
Yeah, there's an investment when we were at their event last night that's palpable. It's a grassroots movement, using the national team as the kind of the messenger of the sport.
Good point, Quentin. When you look at what Israel is doing, there's one native on the team who grew up in Israel. The rest are from the United States, but 60% of the roster currently lives in Israel. So they're on the ground growing the game every single day in this country.
Hawes, that one wide. And in a sense, they are sort of the lovable underdog in this tournament, and they were in the land where, you know, the first great upset happened. A guy by the name of David. Big save that time. Rebound out toward midfield. Final seconds in this third quarter. One dominated by the U.S. Crotty. 2 seconds. And time expires in the third. But Team USA coming out of the locker room like a bear who missed breakfast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 goals in the third. U.S. by 4. Start of the fourth quarter, the U.S. with a 7-1 third. Now has a 4-goal lead as we go to the final 20 minutes. Here's what's coming up for the U.S. On Saturday, they'll take on Australia. 7:30 on the U. Sunday, the U.S. and Canada, a rematch of the 2014 gold medal game, which Canada won. That will be on ESPN2. They'll play Scotland Monday on ESPN+, and then England Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern on ESPNU. Tough loss, by the way, for England yesterday in the World Cup, losing to Croatia. You guys were out there watching that game. A lot of people interested. It looked like this might be the time England breaks through and Croatia pulls it out.
World Cup is gigantic here in Israel. We were driving around Netanya last night. There are people out in the street actually watching TVs as groups, at restaurants, everyone focused on soccer. Huge sport.
Soccer worldwide. What were we doing the other night? Just seeing the mass appeal. A guy like LeBron James has 40 million Instagram followers. Cristiano Ronaldo has 130 million. It's just, you don't realize until you really leave the U.S. how big soccer is internationally.
Pennell had his man hung up. Now Schreiber. He's had a nice game. Over to Matt Danowski, who had the first U.S. goal. Schreiber. Wow. Skip past to Danowski. Hesitated. Now Danowski drawing the double. That one deflected off the cross of Ryan Brown, going for his fourth. Contact. It comes to Danowski.
Good offense. Guys in white playing hard as well.
Wolf. Brown on the doorstep. Jordan Wolf threads the needle, and Ryan Brown cans his fourth of the evening.
Well, I tell you, when this offense is humming, Ryan Brown's going to put up gigantic stats. What I loved about this possession, Tommy Schreiber's ability to pass off the dodge. You get the defense in motion, and then everybody's sharing the ball and moving. This is just a slam dunk layup for Ryan Brown. Significant of great team offense.
Right on cue. The last time out, when I was in the huddle, Coach John Danowski mentioned the hockey assist, the two-away. So it's the initial dodge, pass, score. And that's the beauty. When you have superstars offensively, you start the rotation, the defense has to commit. It's not the initial pass, it's the two-away.
The party started.
Yeah. Which makes you think one day maybe there'll be the same type of assist stat, but it's hard, right? Like hockey has the two-away is considered an assist, a hockey assist.
Before we go down that route,
Rustin could handle that. Not many could, though.
Before we go down that route, add a hockey assist to the official stat sheet. Can we do something about the orange ball?
Yeah, it needs to be white.
Ned Crotty shot saved by Hill.
It needs to be white so our viewers at home can track the ball. But I'll tell you what, Anish and Quint, college coaches track that hockey assist and film study all the time. Those are the guys that they love.
Oh, absolutely. And more than that, Paul, they track, you know, doubles drawn, slides drawn.
Yep.
Nanticoke. DeHogan Nanticoke, 50 goals as a freshman at Albany. Got to play with Connor Fields. Nanticoke will be the alpha for Scott Marr. Big loss in the offseason for Albany, though. Not only Fields graduating, but T.D. Erlin transferring to Yale.
They bring back some talent through the Great Danes. I love Jacob Patterson, who was actually named to this Iroquois team, electing not to play because he's a little banged up at the end of the season. But Patterson, born in Buffalo, moved to Arizona, now he's out in California. He's a star of the future, Paul.
Oh, definitely. He's so slick on the left side. Reminds me a lot of Zach Miller, who played at Denver. Just his ability to get underneath defenders. Beautiful stick skills. I think Albany could still put up some numbers. Nanticoke, Patterson, and don't forget about Eccles from the outside.
Rabel to Schreiber, back to Holman, looking for Danowski. North Carolina Duke connection.
Too much spice on that hummus.
Jordan Wolf now. 4 Blue Devils on the roster. Wolf, Will Hawes, Matt Danowski, and Ned Crotty. Marcus Holman, slam dunk. And Team USA continues to pull away.
Cruise control mode right now, humming on offense, executing really solid half-field patterns. Alley dodge, ball goes behind, and Holman, who is in the high slot, then cuts as his defender is caught ball watching.
When defenses aren't accustomed to playing with themselves as much as, say, the U.S., who's had a training camp sessions for the last year, or at least it was 50 guys and they whittled it down. The uncertainty off of quick restarts, quick ball movement, and make no mistake about it, the Iroquois defense is gassed right now.
Kark, if you are the Iroquois, what can you take away from the first half of this game that you can build on?
That you can score on anyone. I mean, their top 6 guys are scary by U.S. standards, Canadian standards.
That's a crease violation. They say Stouts was in the crease. Didn't connect there, Kark, but to your point, it's not just that they can score on anybody, it's the way they score. There is an artistry to their goals.
Absolutely, but also versatility, because now you have guys like Lyle Thompson and DeHogan Nanticoke who are running out of the midfield. So one of those guys is going to get a short stick. So I think it's going to put so much pressure on opposing teams in regards to how you defend them. It's not like they're losing so much attack by putting Nanticoke and Lyle Thompson in midfield. You have Randy Stotts, you have Austin Stotts, you have Miles Thompson, so the cover is still stopped.
Flag down. Team USA on a roll right now. They have scored 9 of the last 10 goals in this game.
Fans unhappy with that call. Great crowd on hand earlier as Paul and Chris Cotter called Jamaica-Israel game. We could barely get in the stadium, Anish, but you could feel the excitement here.
Wait a minute. That's a story we've got to tell.
We could hear the crowd outside the stadium, and I so wanted to get in here early.
Yeah, we wanted to get in early to see the tail end of Israel-Jamaica, and then we wanted to see the opening ceremony, and we tried to get in. They told us our credentials were no good. We explained to them we were media, we were doing the game for ESPN, and they said, "Where's your ticket?" And we said, "Well, we're media," and they're like, "Right, you're press. You still need a ticket." Bit of an adventure getting in, and then finally we made our way into the stadium, but we ended up on the opposite side. So we finally got around to our broadcast position. We saw Kark and Cotter. We said, okay, that's the spot. And then we actually had to climb over seats to get to our broadcast position. big spread.
Yeah. Like these players, you know, when you're playing internationally, globally, you've got to be ready to perform with imperfections to your schedule. Whether it's bad travel, bad food, and we've had incredible food on this trip.
We have.
You know, that's what Olympic athletes deal with. Whether you're wrestling in a tournament like Kyle Snyder in Russia in the middle of the winter, whether you're a track and field athlete, you know, when you think about international competition, you wonder why everyone's attention to detail. They bring their own water, they bring their own food. All those details matter.
See, we planned ahead though. We got here early, so it wasn't a big deal. The turnover, Jackson not only hits the crossbar.
Nice shots tonight.
Lyle Thompson still hustling, wins the race to the sideline. Down 6 goals. And the Iroquois will keep it. 11:45 to go in regulation. Once we get to the 3-minute mark of the fourth quarter, then we have a normal clock with stoppages on dead balls, but it is a continuous clock up until the 3-minute mark. Nancy, that's a bull dodge and one. Woo!
Get out of my way. Watch him put the shoulder down, deliver the elbow, and these USA defenders on occasion tonight have been overpowered. Freight train alert. Joel White, get out of my way.
That's the Amtrak dodge. Nanticoke, top freshman coming out of high school last year, went to Albany. He's got the box lacrosse helmet on. That's awesome.
The normal standard helmet doesn't fit him. He's part bear, part ram.
He's a minotaur. He's one of my favorite players to watch. We saw him in this NCAA tournament. The hands, the stick skills, some of the passes that he would catch. And Carr, tell us about warming up with him, that changeup that he throws.
Look, the guy is an absolute freak. You saw the size and strength. That's a full-grown man in Joel White that he just swatted away and made that size discrepancy look silly. But his stick skills to boat are just amazing. I spent a couple days up in Albany this spring, and he throws these change-up passes at you, and they are frightening. Looks like he's throwing a normal ball to you, and you're having a nice toss in the backyard with your buddy, and then he starts throwing these change-ups. And I've been playing lacrosse my whole life. I'm ducking left and right. I'm looking like the biggest fool ever. His stick skills, his hands, his creativity. He snaps these little twister-type passes, and he's so unique in terms of the blend of size, strength, and overall skill.
He told me his stick skills were sharpened in the driveway. He and his brother would play catch, and his brother would whip darts at DeHoga's head. And Nanticoke said he had 3 options: catch it, let the ball hit the garage, get yelled by mom, or get hit in the head. And he learned to catch them. Hill with the save as we come up on 9 minutes to play in regulation. The Iroquois had a 3-0 lead, 7-5. The Iroquois led at halftime. It has been all Team USA since then. A 9-2 run. Stotts. Crouching defensive position by Fletcher. Todd Thompson whirls, whiffs. Picked up by Tucker Durkin. 2-time winner of the Schmeisser Award. Owen Hopkins, that's the best defender in the country. Now a head coach at Division III Bryn Athyn College in Pennsylvania. No shot clock, so the U.S. can really hold and stall, and if a stall warning comes on, you just have to keep it inside the box. The old rules. And let's see if they throw on a stall warning here soon. Have not seen that tonight. All right, got to throw one on now, right? Snyder to John Hawes, to Ryan Brown. Crotty holds it. Holds it. I mean, come on. If you're not going to get a stall warning now,
then it doesn't exist.
I mean, this is the theater of the absurd. What are we waiting for? Well, we're going to stall. We got to pay some bills. 6:44 to go in the fourth. Team USA by 5.
We are in beautiful Netanya, Israel. It's game 1 of the World Lacrosse Championships. The U.S. up 14-9 on Iroquois. The trusted choice. Play the game well. It's an easy one. Dave Hogananico laying the boom. Absolutely tattoos Joel White and stings it top shelf. You know, you talk about the stars of the game today. The Lyle Thompsons, the Paul Rabel. That guy is next.
He reminds me of Charles Barkley. And that he's got good feet, great hands, and then a body that is an instant mismatch.
And somebody you never wanted to take a charge against.
Well said.
Here comes Paul Rabel. Over to Schreiber, who's had a nice game. Now Danowski. Matt Danowski with his second. And Team USA piling on 15-9.
They call him Dino. Number 40 in white. Typically a righty sniper from this area, showing some versatility, getting down that left side. You saw the approach. Forcing Danowski to his left. Well, he welcomes that challenge and stings it low corner.
I think they found a midfield there because, Paul, that play starts with Rabel, a left to right split dodge down that right-handed alley away from where you are on the bench, kicks it to Schreiber, who then just torches and dissects the defense by going to the lob pass across the top, and all of a sudden Danowski's got that entire half of field to operate. Those three guys, if they can meld their skills together, are going to be formidable.
It's a good point because Danowski can be a glue guy. Doesn't have to have the ball in his stick. Can play away from the ball with guys like Rabel.
Matt reads defense is pretty darn well now. As a coach, as an offensive coordinator at Duke. I think he's seeing things in a different way as his career potentially comes to an end over the next 2 weeks. I'm not sure he'll ever play again after this summer.
New goalie for Team USA, Jack Kelly, former star at Brown. Helped the Bears reach championship weekend in 2016. MLL Rookie of the Year in 2016 and Goaltender of the Year last season. Big part of Lars Tiffany's success there, and Lars Tiffany, one of the assistants on the Iroquois staff. 15-9, Team USA on top of Iroquois. For the U.S., this is a team that has come up with silver in 2 of the last 3 World Championships, including 2014. They've got the best roster. That's never really been the issue. Can they play as a cohesive unit? They certainly have the second half. Holman cans another one. And Quinn, you brought up a really good point during our meeting with Coach John Danowski yesterday when you said, what's more important? Is it a gold medal or is it being a part of this U.S. roster.
Well, there's such cachet and clout, Anish, when you're named to Team USA, because the competition for these 23 spots is incredible. You know, and so you put on that jersey, and there's a feeling of accomplishment and satisfaction. That's prior. The feeling should be, hey, let's go win a gold medal. Let's spread the goodwill of lacrosse in the United States and be great ambassadors. To me, those should be the focuses. So it's hard for these athletes sometimes to hit that reset button. I think what's working in the favor of this USA group, and Paul, you tell me if I'm wrong, is Canada is a great foe now. They've won 2 out of the last 3 World Championships.
They have
great offense.
Yeah.
And the fact that this USA team lost in their exhibition to the MLL All-Stars, which was kind of a sobering smack prior to this trip.
It used to be a formality that the U.S. would always win. 1978 was the exception when Canada won. 82 gold, 86 gold, 90 gold, 94 gold, 98 gold, 2002 gold, and then the last 3 times they faced the Canadians in the gold medal game, they came up short twice. So they have the attention right now of everyone wearing the USA colors.
Look at Paul Rabel. Pennell inside, Schreiber back to Pennell. Seeing some precision passing by the U.S. 2.5 to go. Not that time. Pennell tried to rip it away from Mike Lazor, who played lacrosse and football at Hobart. Lazor from Carthage, New York, the same hometown of the Powell brothers, Mike, Ryan, and Casey.
Anish, didn't you get your inspiration with the sport of lacrosse watching Mikey Powell at Cuse?
I did, yeah. I went from somebody who was introduced to the sport to someone who fell in love with the sport. Someone who covered it because he had to someone who watched it because he wanted to. Behind the back, off the mark. Fletcher falls down. Kelly comes away with it.
Michael Phelps didn't have the same impact on your swimming?
I tried, man. I tried. I sink like a stone.
We're going to work with him.
John Kettering thinks he can teach me to swim before this trip is over. We'll see.
It would be his greatest achievement in his illustrious producing career.
It would be the greatest achievement of anyone's career. I've tried. I have a 9-month-old daughter who's better in the water than I am. 1:25 to go in the 4th, 16-9, Team USA.
Sunday's game against Team Canada will be epic. It's on ESPN2. I believe it's, noon Eastern?
Yeah, noon Eastern, ESPN2. So that's, 7 p.m. our time? Israel 7 hours ahead. The entire country, pretty much the size of the state of New Jersey. And so much history and lore and legend, religion concentrated in this area. And I think we'll try to post some behind-the-scenes stuff from our trip tomorrow. We make the voyage out to Jerusalem, and we'll get to spend some time in the old city. And I think capturing the setting and where we are is going to be such a big part of what we do over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm eager to see the Wailing Wall. It's not the type of wall you're going to play wall ball against.
Don't even try it. We want to come back with you.
But the significance of these places, the age of everything. It's just things in America and that we can't comprehend how old everything is.
You go up north. I mentioned earlier the 3 main bodies of water, the Med, the Dead, and the Red, the Mediterranean, the Dead Sea, and the Red Sea. You go up north, the Sea of Galilee, the importance of that in the Bible. You have near that Sea of Galilee the city of Tiberias. It wasn't far from Tiberias that the Horns of Hattin, one of the great battles of the Second Crusade, was fought. You zoom out from this map and you see Crusader states, you see Tripoli and Acre, and it is a time warp being here. I mean, that's the incredible thing. You get chills thinking about it. Galilee. That's where the Bible says Jesus established his primary ministry. You have the Jordan River where he was baptized. A land sacred to so many people and so many religions and so many cultures. It's a great stage for an event that has world in its title. As Wolf with another goal for the U.S.
If you joined us in the second half, you got to see a USA onslaught over a fatigued Iroquois Nationals program that had major travel snafus. Remember, this game was 7-5 in favor of the Iroquois in the first half. I think going forward, that's what matters for the guys in purple. The positive for the United States was a team that was really humming in the half-court sets and the extra man in the second half. They showing great team chemistry, the willingness to share the ball.
You almost have to think this game worked out the way that Coach John Danowski wanted it to. Struggle a little bit in the beginning. Everyone take a deep breath. And now he turns on the tape. All the beautiful plays offensively, the common denominator, they were assisted goals.
You get a taste of adversity, too, being down at halftime. U.S. back in action Saturday against Australia. And for this Iroquois national team, the prescription is going to be a little bit of rest. It was a big question whether they would even make it to this game. We didn't know as of yesterday morning if they'd be able to get on their flight, get all their travel issues sorted out, but they got here, played well for the first 40 minutes, 20-minute quarters. Took a 2-goal lead into halftime, but then the U.S. came out with a full-on blitz in the second half. 12-2, the U.S. after halftime, and the Americans with an 8-goal win in the opener as their quest toward a gold medal begins with a win.
Excited for this complete tournament through July 21st. ESPNU, ESPN2, and ESPN Plus.
We're just getting started in Netanya, Israel. Team USA 17, the Iroquois 9. We'll talk to you on Saturday.